Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dregn Durant of the Yasuhiro88ch, and welcome for episode 9 of Horizon Exploration. Hope you're all ready for a little bit more space adventures with our crew here today. We'll get over to the screen in just a moment, but we will be down a player tonight. Unfortunately, some last-minute items came up for our brawler Koji, but without further ado, though, let's switch on over. Made a few brief little changes here, so let's see if everything comes through. Minor changes. Don't know if you guys will spot them, but let's go. All right. And I do actually, before we move over, need to drop this window here down to the corner. All right, that should do it. And let's go. Get the game up. I need to add a bit of a hotkey to this because that would sure be helpful. But let's go. Here is Horizon Exploration. Hey, Dazaki. No, I heard you. All right, we're just getting loaded in here, and as you can see, we are missing a player. Once again, Koji will be out tonight. And let's see here. Show me my true form. What are you talking about? You want to see this guy? All right. Oh, misclick. All right, let's see here. This isn't his final form. You have no idea. I haven't even started yet. But let's go. Let's get the party in here, get some BGM music going, and let's say hello to our party members. At the top here, Peter.
How did I get here?
You signed up for this, damn it.
Hello.
All right. Peter here is playing our favorite technician, Sam, and a man of many talents, from medical assistance to mechanical prowess and top tier bullshitter. Let's go.
I also think the group cheerleader. Just really make sure everyone feels good about what their role, doing what they do.
He's not even my favorite technician in the group.
Wait, who else is in the group that's a technician? I don't know.
Are you just three kids in a suit? In a trench coat?
It's just three technicians. That maybe that's how he's tasting dirt. He's already close to the ground.
That's my secret.
Things are just lost in
episode
translation.
9.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Sean.
How's it going? I also go by Asbiel. I'm playing Maxine Beck, the group's marksman. And if you want to check me out, go on Twitter at Asbiel_GM.
Yes, we saw Maxine here doing lots of sharpshooting, living up to the name of a marksman in episode 8 last week. Do go check that out. And if you didn't know, Azabiel here had just debuted himself as a PNG tuber, so we got one, boys. But we'll actually be playing some Hunt Showdown in an official kind of collab manner coming up this next Monday, so tomorrow. So look out for that. We'll be back at Hunt Showdown this week. And next up, we have Calvin.
Sorry, would you like to try that again?
Whoa.
It's Caden.
Yeah, if you've been paying attention.
Calvin.
I've been saying everyone's name so you guys can introduce yourself.
Oh, have you? I haven't been paying attention. Okay, apparently I'm just not. Hi, I'm Caden!
Caden here, resident mysterious boy. Doesn't really know what's going on. Doesn't really know if he's playing a campaign or not. Sometimes, it seems. But
Mysterious to others and a mystery to himself.
Exactly. Who's the worst enemy? It might be you. But
if I don't know what I'm going to do next, how does the enemy?
Exactly. I mean, if the enemy also can't see you, that also helps. But we'll see what unfolds with Caden in due time. A little so far, definitely been the mysterious boy of the group. And last up, we have Sergio.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday to everybody, and I'm your resident ranger, but going by the name of Dario. Nice to see everyone today.
Let's go. Dario is a man from a faraway world, and he's so far been very overall very calm and collected with his time on Aurora Green. So how about now we jump into the campaign? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes, Captain.
Never.
Never. Get out of here. You signed the papers. You know what's up.
Didn't read the fine print, man. I didn't read the fine print.
Nah, that's a personal problem. All right, well,
He
let's
feeds us once a day.
go through a very brief recap. So last time on Horizon Exploration, the group had been split from a week where Maxine was pulled away by we'll say the leadership of the settlement that they had found out in the outskirts of Aurora Green. And the rest of the group was approached by Cedar, another leader of the group, to go and explore the caves that they had previously encountered the insectoids, which, let me actually pull that up on the screen for those who have not seen it. Let's see, where did I put it? I believe this is the one. Ooh.
You had one job, Dragon.
I did have one job. We're still getting things figured out here. It's don't mind me. But creatures, and we have here here we go. Insectoids, right? That were found by the group. Now, after slaying some of these insectoids, the party had acquired a mandible and given that to Cedar as somewhat of an entrance fee to do trade and stay within their makeshift perimeter. And Cedar was very interested. He wanted to go check out these insects, see what they were doing, where they're from, He wanted to see them. He wanted to have the party lead him to the caves. And as the group had into separate occasions, driven off in different directions, they eventually met. Shut up. They eventually met each other once again as Maxine and Banuk, the other leader of the settlement, had encountered some hostile fire as a couple of the members of the camp were immediately slain by a sniper. Maxine returned fire, and the party, after making a brief wrong turn, eventually found their way to where the action was taking place, and we had a bit of combat, which, with that, let me go ahead and switch over, get everyone over here to where we had left off. Combat, though combat takes a while, as combat does, but the party came out pretty decisively on top as Maxine provided support fire from the rear with her marksmanship. Koji and Dario ran ahead to get pushed closer to where the combatants were, and we saw, I think for maybe the first time, Sam running around doing actual cleric-y things.
I remembered what my class was.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't. I didn't shit all that fight.
Well, Caden, you also weren't entirely sure what was going on. You lagged
My
behind a
spells
little
just
bit.
don't have range for that kind of engagement. I don't have a
Exactly.
600-meter range freaking rifle.
True. Yep. Ranged combat is definitely going to be a trend in open engagements on this campaign, just because
Yourself.
we
Long-range
are
spells.
we are using guns instead of your traditional bows and crossbows and whatnot. So we'll be taking advantage of the max range of the weapon, and with that, getting getting the ability to actually have some gunfights. So it should be exciting. Now, once the enemy has been routed, right, Koji promptly beat up the individual here, pummeling him into the ground, deleting his face. The individual in the back, Maxine, had managed to actually get a very strong hit on his face and ended up blasting off a good chunk of it as he tried to collect himself and regain his partial composure. He found a detonator that he had, and they had blown the cave entrance and probably from the sound of the explosion, much of what was within, as debris came flying out after the large explosion rumbled the walls and caused an echoing boom. But the aftermath, unfortunately, was just enough as he got pummeled by debris, ended up taking this individual out. And actually, very early on, the sniper, which had taken out a few of Banuk's underlings, had managed to be properly sniped down by Maxine as well. We have 2 remaining NPCs as part of this new group. An individual who some of the party members had noticed had some odd features, including what appeared to be an extra set of transparent eyelids underneath the surface eyelids, as well as very, very slick, smooth skin, not riddled by nearly any hair, very, very clean looking. Or I don't know if clean is the way to put it, but it looked different from your traditional human. I believe our resident technician here also just innately recognized that this is not a human, perhaps a member of another race. And a female who didn't really do much during the fight, but appears to be dressed in a very civilian, scientist-like appearance, and was peppered with Dario's Hail of Thorns, an alternative ammo for his SMG that shoots out flechette-like rounds that pierced her side. But both of these individuals were alive at the end. The one who looks a bit pale had surrendered as he was in the fray, and the scientist stayed behind as the group eventually discovered her tending to her wounds. And with that, we should be right back where we had left off. Now, the fog that was cast last time will be removed. So let me see if I can remember how to select.
So Alt F4?
Get out of here. Thank you for that. There will be a dire event that occurs due to that comment. No. But with that, you had all taken down the foes. Maxine had called out from the rear, seeing kind of the surrendering hands of the man up ahead, who I don't remember if I had moved him after the fight, but he would have been more like right around here. And Banuk, who is the individual with a bit of a red nose going on here, but Banuk had also called out, agreeing that a ceasefire would be best. And from here, because Koji is going to be missing, Koji is off to the side after his rage had worn off. Visually, he is looking quite exhausted. You see kind of beads of sweat rolling down his face, and anyone who approaches, he really just kind of curses and brushes off, saying that he just needs some time. Typical
Nuke and
Koji
Cedar
attitude.
are together, right?
Banuk is currently with Luca, who was with you all. So those two are sharing tokens on this kind of overlay map, or whatever we want to call it, overmap. The squares are 30 feet. So there are NPCs that are sharing spaces. Let me just make sure. Oh, did I set it to 40 feet? All right, that might be something I'll have to fix later. But yes, the tiles are set to 30. Cedar, who you're asking about, is actually back where you guys currently can't see, but I'll ping their location, as in front of the narrow passway. Cedar, along with 4 vehicles, are currently stationed over there. Banuk and the kind of recon convoy, had taken 3 vehicles, one of which very resembling of a Halo Warthog, right? Has a machine gun on the back. And then Cedar had taken a bit of a larger vehicle for more personnel transport, very like a large Humvee of sorts, that the majority of the party, including Cedar and Luca, had driven around in. But those are currently at the entryway of that narrow passway that the vehicles could not pass through. what do we all do now? Banuk is currently telling Luca some information. A moment later, Luca runs off past Maxine. Maxine, as he quickly passes you, hey, good shooting. I'm going to be calling the others, and we're going to collect what's left here before heading back to the camp. Not sure if Cedar's going to want to check out this cave now that there's debris blocking the way. But a short exchange as he's kind of jogging in place and continues past to regroup with the other soldiers.
Gonna go ahead and just catch up with the others up here where all this fighting actually happened.
Sure. There are some boulders and rocks kind of scattered about. Maxine, you had taken cover behind some as you were maneuvering to posture against the sniper. And the rest of you, as you walk and move up, will find occasional cover here and there. In the back, Maxine, once you eventually regroup with the others, you do recall again the sniper who was in the back, who is currently out of view due to having fallen behind the cover that he was using originally. But out kind of in the open, you see the ones that Koji was fighting with, and then the other two are kind of standing off to the side a bit together now that the female has been found and brought back by the group.
I'd like to... I'm going to go and just passing Dario. I want to pull a length of coiled cable rope.
Okay.
Holding it out to him and say, weapons up. And I said that wrong. I'm using the cable, not giving it to Dario.
Hey.
I want to go and try to find these two.
Okay.
I'm just telling Dario, weapons up, keep me covered.
I keep my gun pointed towards the two figures here, just in case if they make any kind of slight movements.
I'm gonna get closer so I could actually do something if they decide to do anything. Because I've always been at range the entire fight.
We'll say that, right, because we are out of combat, you guys within, reasonable time, as long as nothing happens, are able to kind of walk about and be with the others as you guys see fit, right? We're not gonna, because tokens stacking on top of each other would be a bit difficult to see on stream. You guys feel free to just put yourself in the rough 30 feet or so kind of area that you think you'd be standing. But Maxine, you have some experience doing this, but I think I'm gonna have you make a sleight of hand roll with advantage.
All right. I also, I'm probably gonna do it after I actually try tie him, but I do want to do a pat down, search for anything they might have on them.
Sure. Before, I'm assuming after. So let's get the sleight of hand roll first.
Oh, no.
What's the advantage for it? Come on now. All right. Well, your roll totaled an 8.
What'd you just say?
The advantage did nothing. But roll of 8, you go ahead and get their bindings tied up, and both of them are now have their hands kind of tied behind their back. Is that the idea?
Yeah, behind their backs. It's a length of 50, so more than enough to keep them bound. And
I got big wrists.
Oh, you're joining them in the bondage here? Okay. Let's
just gonna run the rope around every person here and see if I have enough length to tie it off at the end as well.
Don't get lost, everyone. All right. Well, let me do a couple quick rolls on my own. All right. As you go to do the bindings, the guy here is kind of just complying. He's when you're tying hey, not too tight. Come on, be gentle. And the female just looks resigned. She kind of has the look of Koji when gosh, I don't remember exactly where it was, but when he was just like, I want to go home. That's the look. That's the look that she's kind of giving here as she just eyes you passively as you're walking around and then binding them.
With the guy, as he's being all, talking and such, I just want to grab his jaw and turn his head towards the guy that I shot who set off the detonator. Say, that is me not being gentle. Consider yourself lucky.
Give me an intimidation.
Oh no. You gotta redo it again, Maxine.
You faced him the wrong way.
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah, he looks at you. Oh, I guess you're holding his head, but I'll keep that in mind. But you don't quite hear the reaction that you were hoping for.
I just want to talk to kind of this group here, and I want to ask them, do you all shoot everybody that comes through here with everything else happening in this world? You think this is the best way to make friends? And what is going on in this cave? What is all this about?
You're asking which one?
Kind of the group that we're restraining.
Gotcha. The female is just kind of staring off at the ground. She seems to be kind of muttering something to herself, but in a very low whisper, and she really doesn't seem here at the moment. The guy, you mind letting go of my face? I'd be happy to tell you.
So I'm gonna kind of give him a light shove, not trying to actually push him away from me, but just give him a bit of a shove and go back to starting to pat him down and such.
He does a bit of a half step, but quickly gains his balance. Not that, again, you were trying to shove, but you notice that the shove really didn't seem to affect him much, if at all. While you're doing the pat down, give me an investigation roll. And Sam, give me a persuasion roll. Dude, you're doing horrible tonight.
Holy cow, dude.
Get him out now.
5 on the intimidation, a 4 on the investigation.
Well, a 5.
It's
Oh,
spreading now,
gosh.
too. Wonderful.
Let's just murder these people. Let's not talk to them. Let's just kill them.
Yeah, you won't be able to roll on a hit though, so
Sam rolling a 5 on the persuasion. Yeah, so the female still distracted. The guy, after kind of composing himself and looking up back at you. I was in the cave when the shot went off. I don't know why our friend shot you all in the first place.
I look over to Maxine and I ask her, well, what happened?
We came around the corner, marksman took a shot. First one he saw. It was a good shot, too. Fortunate.
Listen, we're all a bit jumpy today, it seems. We were following steps. We found this cave. In the cave, there were creatures. We killed some of them, but decided that there were too many, so we decided to blow this place to high hells.
you told you there was creatures here. See?
What kind of creatures?
Big bugs? I don't know.
Eh,
I've
that's
never
the ones we're looking
seen them
for.
before. But we weren't about to stick around. And when we came out, you were already rushing forward and we were being shot at.
Maxine, did you take a picture of one of those bugs or creatures we saw? Can you show them?
Maxine, you absolutely have been taking photos.
Mm-hmm.
And through your Dynasty device, you are able to project an image. And scrolling through a few of those images, you find that creature once again, pulling it up, and... or at least you have the ability to pull it up.
Yeah, I'm going along with it. Might as well. see if it's the same thing.
You will see this this creature projected on Maxine's device that you can all see.
Is anyone going to ask them?
Are these the creatures that you saw?
He shuffles around. Well, the ones that we saw were a bit more red, but the shape is the same.
When we came in contact with them, they seemed to want to stay in their own den. If they were bothering you, I would think you were encroaching on their space.
They're just bugs. What do you mean they would keep to themselves?
Have you ever stepped on an anthill?
These were a little bigger than ants.
Yeah, but they don't bother you unless you step on their fucking anthill.
Well, how are we supposed to know? We were just following the others.
As you pointed out, they're pretty fucking big.
These are a little more sentient, I think, than your average bugs.
What makes you say they were sentient? They just came after us as soon as we entered the caves.
How did you enter? I mean, this hole you have here doesn't look natural.
Do I look like a scientist?
Can I tell if they dug a hole with explosions with my background?
So the cave that you guys are in front of. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with like a history roll. And with your background, you could also roll it with advantage. So,
11.
yeah, it's a bit difficult to tell with the debris now. There are certainly signs that whatever dug through the rocky surfaces originally, it's the material is quite rigid, so there would be more telltale signs of unevenness if it was blown out by explosives. So far, you're getting the feeling that all their involvement with this cave was to cause the cave-in that you guys were here for to witness.
How far did you get behind here?
Say that again?
How far deep did you get in this cave before you try to collapse it?
Well, we didn't get to explore all of it. We walked in, there were some tunnels, and we found a bit of a chamber. And there seemed to be...
Why this cave? Why here? What's so special?
Well, the cave itself didn't really matter, but what we saw were tracks leading from this place. When we got here, the tracks were leading that way, as he actually points to the opposite horizontal end of this opening, this area that you're all within. But that side simply, the tracks that we saw simply led into the rocky surfaces. But we spotted an opening over here and came to investigate.
Dario, do you think you could take a look?
Dario starts to rotate toward the entrance of the cave while still keeping his SMG pointed at the man, and goes to inspect the opening of the hole. Looking at it, does it look like someone with my stature would be able to fit through?
So currently, there was a cave-in, right? The explosion blasted out the inside. Rocks from the inside have collapsed, and you guys would have to spend some time to remove some of the debris and boulders that have collapsed and is currently blocking this entrance.
Actually, when I think of it, sorry, it's a little abrupt, but could I pick up one of their weapons? I need something to use when don't have anything else to use.
Sure. Yeah. Nearby, you see at the feet that Maxine and Dario had collected, there was an SMG that was used by the one that was speaking. The dead body below you, or actually both of the dead bodies near you, have assault rifles that are kind of lying around from or nearby their corpses. Actually, one of them is going to be by Maxine. Maxine, you would have picked it up on the way over here, as Koji had actually grabbed the leader's rifle and thrown it behind him. But yeah, Caden, there is what appears to be a ballistic assault rifle that is nearby from this dude here.
Any laser weapons or no?
Nope. Everything you guys heard from this group was ballistic.
Okay, I'll grab one of the smaller ones, like a sidearm or the SMG or something. One of the two.
I talked to Sam. I think if I can clear just a little opening, I can use my drone here to see if I can do a little reconnaissance. See if I can see a way through.
What kind of footprints were they following? It seems it's like a lot of heavy firepower just to follow some footprints.
I would agree. I definitely think looking into this cave maybe give us some more answers than I think what they're willing to tell us.
Well, I don't have anything like that can do it, but maybe Banuk does.
Well, I have one. I don't know if you've noticed. As Dario rotates his back and shows off a backpack, almost like a piece of equipment on his back. This is my friend here that will allow me to allow us to see a little bit better inside, and I can control it from my little wrist.
No, that's cool. I say that while tinkering with a gun that I probably clearly looks like I don't know how to use, I might add.
So yeah, Caden, we'll say that you found a pistol at the pocket of the leader, and that's the one that you picked up. We can talk about the stats for this pistol later. And
no, I just needed something because
you're good. You got a pistol. And Dario, what is the intention with the drone? Are you going to be trying to clear an opening? Is that what I'm hearing?
I want to remove some of the rocks to see if I can at least get a big enough space for the drone to pass through, and then be able to control it from the outside, so it can kind of go in and do a little bit of an inspection to see, either how much of the cave is caved in, whether there's any creatures on the inside that we need to deal with.
Gotcha.
I feel like it's worthy enough for us to at least look in here, but I'd want us to kind of get a good look in first and to see what we're dealing with before we start to clear it off completely.
Okay. So, when you go to try to move some rocks that seem to be more maneuverable or movable, give me we'll go with a strength check.
A 9.
Yeah, you move one rock after a bit of strain, and behind it you see a larger boulder blocking your view. You position yourself off to kind of the side, climbing up the pile of rubble that has now kind of settled in front of the cave, and look for another weak opening, trying to nudge out another boulder that looks manageable, and this one just isn't budging. The angle's bad, but you can't seem to find a clear opening to maybe ferry your drone through.
Yeah, I might need a little bit of help, Sam. I don't know if you have anything to clear it.
I don't, but we can ask around and see. Banuk, maybe something back at the camp.
Yeah, it might be worth it. Otherwise, if we have some kind of something to kind of shim it open, maybe that would help a little bit.
Dario, while you're kind of working on this, from behind you all, around this time, sharing the tile that Cedar is occupying, you see a small detail begin to make their way down. And with that, Banuk sees them, and Banuk's also going to posture to go meet them, part way. But yeah, Dario, you try for some time, trying to see if there's a way to look within, but no, definitely seems to be pretty well sealed. And the moment, yeah, you're not finding a good place to break through. Caden,
Mm-hmm.
your backstory, how much involvement with firearms would you say that you have?
A little bit, but not like Maxine level. But I was like, I know what it is, but I definitely haven't used one all too frequently.
Give me a history roll.
History, sure.
The guy doesn't know where he was this morning.
Yeah, you're trying your best to understand this pistol. It looks like a standard firearm, definitely ballistic. You manage to eventually find, it takes you a while and you fumble with it, but you eventually find how to kind of discharge the magazine and take a look at what you're working with, and looks to be just kind of a pretty standard issue rifle, or not rifle, a pistol. So yeah, you're able to stash that, and nothing ill-fated will happen at the moment. But Banuk, after speaking with the others, Cedar will approach the group. Banuk will work with the other soldiers to start kind of rummaging through the other bodies. Maxine, the investigation that you gave me earlier, yeah, as you pat down the individuals, you don't find anything really of notice. The female doesn't really seem to have much on her other than like medical accessories, and then the guy had a couple of daggers that he dropped early on, as well as the SMG that was slung around his with a strap that you disarmed from him. But Dario, as you keep working on it, eventually Cedar makes his way up to the cave entrance. Is this the cave?
From
Yeah.
what we've been told, yeah, they saw these creatures, the creatures within.
What the hell happened here? How are we gonna get inside if it's like this? Is there another entrance, perhaps?
We'd have
We
to
look over towards the group.
Out of the items we took off these people, is there any like a random assortment of technology? I don't need anything specific. I'm just looking for a knickknack of some form, like just something that looks like it will do something. I wouldn't know what it is, anyways.
You're looking for something that looks like it'll do something. Thank you for the best descriptions a GM could ask for.
You can make it whatever you want. Next thing you know, I'm walking around with a sex toy because I don't know what it is. But
give me an God, it's so vague. Give me a perception with disadvantage.
again, like I just need an item. I'm basically looking for something to blame. That makes no sense. What? Sorry, you want a perception or insight?
Just give me some kind of a roll. Let's see what happened. No, give me
some sort of. Okay. Okay. Not good.
Yeah, no, you're walking around. The guy whose head's blown off, you find the thing that he was holding that you saw kind of at the tail end when you finally got closer, on the ground a few feet from where his body lays. And the leader, that Koji, who at this point Koji's kind of beginning to walk off in the direction where the soldiers came from, his hand still dripping with blood. You can kind of see some shards of what look to be possibly bone or metal sticking out of his knuckles. And yeah, rummaging through the leader, just because that's the one that you're closest to, You look for some gadgets, anything. You find 2 extra pistol magazines.
Okay, great. Take those, I guess. Was not what I was looking for, but sweet.
Yeah, you find the rifle magazines, but you're not taking it. So the soldiers that come after you're kind of rummaging through it, they start kind of collecting the weapons from the bodies and taking any armor that looks useful, any medical items that they might be able to find. But Caden, yeah, you find the magazines. You don't find any technology. That's really kind of what you were looking for, and he doesn't seem to really have anything.
Okay, I'm gonna wait by this collapsed entrance till I'm either alone or no one's looking, if that happens at all. If not, I won't do anything.
Sure. Just for the sake of it, Caden, I'm going to move Cedar south here, and I'm going to put you next to the dead body. You could stumble across him and maybe distract yourself, acting like you're occupied. But yeah, Cedar's just kind of not really getting physical at all, but he's looking around. I don't think we're going to get through this. This looks pretty damn sealed, and from the explosion I heard, then they used quite a few charges.
Yeah, do you think you have anything to be able to block it or open it back up?
He's looking at it. Maybe if we could get some of our equipment in here, but our vehicles can't get through the pass. So it might have to be done by hand, but I don't know if we have the time for that.
I'm looking at the prisoners, and I want to ask him, yous all were here first. Did you see another way in? The same area?
He kind of steps over your way and looks in. Well, we did see again the tracks, but no other entrances. Seems kind of looked like there may have been something that way, pointing to the west. But this is the only entrance that we saw that seemed to lead anywhere.
I'm gonna just walk over to Maxine and I'll ask Maxine, do you think we need all 3 of these folks? They don't seem to be too helpful.
This one's a problem, but might have value that we just don't know yet. I think that's more Banuk's call to make. And the other one, she was a non-combatant in the first place.
Well, you know these things more than I do, so I'll leave it up to you.
Dregn, try right-clicking the icon.
Does right-clicking have the option to make it dead?
I thought you meant to tell us that he was dead multiple times.
When you have that menu open, I think if you right-click on the icons, it'll do a big version.
Ooh, let's find out. Oh, thank you, dude.
There you go.
My All right.
I just learned that recently.
Yeah, I'm like, there has to be a way. The other ones are doing it. Come on.
Well, I think our best bet is maybe looking into the tracks. But we should also figure out where these people came from.
That's a good idea.
I just want to kind of give this guy's shoulder another light shove and say, you came from the east, right?
He just looks at you like, me? What
do you think ASEC hasn't been watching you people? Practically own this rock.
The mention of ASEC, the female actually snaps over. ASEC? What do you know about ASEC? They're the ones that put us here. This isn't what I signed up for. And who are you all? Let us go. I am tired of being a prisoner on this forsaken planet.
That's some useful information. Thanks for that. I want to I'm gonna go over to Banuk and just say, do you think these are the ones we were following?
Well, why do you say that?
Well, we were following the tracks, and they're the first people we came across. Unless the tracks went off somewhere else.
Banuk seems to be a bit lost in partial thought as he looks over to the prisoners and the enemies that had been slain, and his eyes linger a bit longer towards the allies whose bodies back up where you guys first kind of turned the corner seem to still reside, and he watches as others kind of carry them off. It would make sense. We haven't seen another soul out here since, and well, I don't know many locals, or I haven't come across many locals who would willingly enter these lands without a reason. Your assumption would make sense.
It sounds like they were dropped in like a lot of these people were. A lot of, like we were.
At mention of that, and at this point, Koji returns with several of the others, including the dead bodies. I'm gonna go ahead and move these out as the soldiers kind of take them off, drag them away, ferry them away, and you guys are left here with Cedar, a couple of soldiers, Banuk, and the prisoners. But these guys will move off, and Banuk will kind of approach the prisoners, Maxine likely with you in tow. Are you the ones that came in the shuttle pod off to the east? Guy looks over and just kind of gives a simple nod, his eyes going a bit wide at the approach of Banuk in his imposing form. But the female steps around, coming forward. Yes, and those brutes killed my colleague and my guard and dragged us with them through this, as she just moves her head in a big circle around, just kind of gesturing since her hands are currently bound.
I'm gonna draw my pistol.
What? Are you gonna be just like the others? She kind of postures herself behind the other gentleman.
You're fine. I don't have any problem with you. I'm just focusing, after saying that, on the Weasley guy.
As you do that, Weasley guy kind of raises both of his hands. Hey, now, again, we surrendered. There's no reason to be hostile like this. I've answered your questions. A split second later, he moves his hands back down behind his back.
Which way is he facing? Like, he's obviously facing Maxine, but compared to the wall I'm at, can I see his back, or is he facing me?
You could see that. You could see their back. I mean, again, you guys are all kind of within roughly line of sight of each other.
Well, I mean, like, is he facing towards me or away from me?
He's facing towards Maxine and Banuk, so you would be on the opposite side.
So I can see what he's doing behind his back.
You can see that he raised his hands and he put his hands behind his back, yes.
Can I see what he's doing with his hands when he put them behind his back? I'm just curious.
Yeah, he's just putting them together.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not doing anything special.
Banuk, this is This is your territory, your operation. His people killed your people. Killed someone that I might have worked with.
Banuk is still in thought, but his eyes glued on the two. We'll be taking you back to our camp. We'll interrogate you later. For now, well, now that we know what we were following, I'm gonna go see what Cedar over here is looking to do. I wasn't expecting to bump into the rest of you out here. With the storm approaching, or at least the storm likely to reappear soon, I thought Cedar would actually stay back and keep an eye on things, but Banuk calls over. You two. Bring them back to the others. Keep a close eye on them, especially this one, as he eyeballs the man.
I'm going to, if he goes off to talk to Cedar, I'm going to try and go and talk to them as well. Banuk and Cedar at the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, the soldiers, the two that were with you guys, approach these other two. The female just looks pissed off, but kind of going through the stages of grief or denial or whatever it is, as the sunken expression seems to have passed, and now there just seems to be frustration and anger in her face. The dude seems way more relaxed, way too relaxed. And what's up, Hero King? Good to see you, bud. But the soldiers usher them off. The one keeping an eye on the guy, keeping his gun raised at his back, noticing that he's not walking in bindings. But they will be ushered off and also removed from the scene. I had something fall, so I need to be right back for a brief moment. But when we come back, we'll see what Banuk and Cedar have to say. Give me one second.
Right.
Out of nowhere.
All right, we're back. We are back. And
Yeah, do you know what's the most suspicious thing about you, Maxine? And of everyone on the team, you're competent.
wow, way to backhand your team here, man.
I'm including myself in that. Like, she's like all professional, and we're like, what are we doing?
Koji seems pretty good at what.
I guess, yeah, he's good at what he does. Yeah.
Koji's only good at like two things, though. All right. Well, with the prisoners ushered off, the bodies taken away to be disposed of or buried. We're not sure yet. And the loot also collected by the other soldiers, they all left, as well as Koji, who again wasn't looking so hot. His face was growing kind of pale once things calmed down. He seemed a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, where you're kind of looking around anxious, right? He was looking anxious, with a cold sweat running down his face. But Banuk here now approaches Cedar, the rest of you likely in tow as well, and let me also get rid of this blast so that's not facing out anywhere towards you guys anymore. But Banuk and Cedar start to talk. Banuk kind of catching each other up of what they'd seen, including Banuk's little stroll with Maxine out to the crash site that they had all seen previously, which, again, for those who may not have seen it, the crash site that the party had earlier stumbled upon as well, where there were two shuttles, one the AbsCorp dropship, very similar to the one the party arrived on Aurora Green with as well as a what appears to be a civilian vessel that was kind of ripped in half and crashed not too far from the other. But this is where Maxine and Banuk had spotted some tracks. They had followed them to these what they call, the residents have called salted lands, where the terrain has changed, and encountered the new group. Cedar also gives Banuk the rundown of how he was very curious about the mandible, as he now pulls it out of his little side bag and shows Banuk, or reminds Banuk of it, and pointing to the cave, talking about how he wanted to investigate these creatures, see if there's maybe some more materials that they can gather, as it could be very useful for maybe fashioning into some kind of like an excavating tool, or seeing if the material could be used to make some makeshift armor that could be very useful, considering the makeup of the chitin is quite sturdy, quite hard, and also incredibly durable. And as Cedar also kind of brings it to the surface of the floor beneath you all, the surface, manages to kind of dig it in, and it seems to kind of chip away at the ground, which the ground around these parts, these salted lands in general, have been very slate-like and very rigid. So Cedar seems very excited at the idea that this mandible, it seems to be made of a material that seems to easily penetrate and kind of shave away at the rocks below you all.
Now Cedar, or Banuk, as I was telling Cedar here, if you have anything that would help us to be able to get through this, we may be able to find more for you. I know this is something that you and your people may need, but unless you have anything to help to blow this opening up for us, we're a bit stuck.
Well, I do have this, as he reaches into one of his packs slung off of his gear, pulls out what looks to be some kind of an improvised explosive device.
I looked at Sam. What do you think? You think that'll work?
Have you been carrying that the whole time?
Yeah, you never know when you might need to blow something up, so grenades are a bit hard to come by around here, and, well, we do make our own.
That's incredibly stupid. I've seen giant men just carrying around bombs on their back, and then one accidental fire goes off and poof, they're gone.
What's your excuse, as he points up and down at your attire where you have these incendiary grenades slung from your bandolier?
I take my hammer and I gently tap on my armor on my hand, and you see a blue glow around me. Shields.
Banuk makes a half turn sideways and pats at his pouch. Bags.
All right, well, you made it this far. I just think it's just very stupid.
Shall we try it out then? As Dario steps back and ushers his arm kind of like an opening, allowing Banuk to move forward if he pleases.
Banuk's kind of staring Sam down as the two seems to be having a passive-aggressive staring contest, but leans his head over to Cedar. Is it worth using one of these to blow this open?
If you don't want to waste it, I think we could get this open in a few days.
Banuk immediately shakes his head in protest. No, we're not sticking around here for a couple days. We're going to have to get ready to be on the move here soon, remember?
Well, the cave's safe. Well, relatively.
I'm not about to put the lives of the entire settlement in the word of a small group that say the caves are safe.
Well, I just meant from the storms. Physically, the storms don't affect you when you're in cover.
Well, remember, they got more than just us here. They have that entire caravan that they've been taking with them.
I'm just generally not used to uprooting so much for storms. Usually I just find somewhere to hunker down to pass them over.
I need you to give me a... what is your charisma modifier?
It is 16 plus 3.
Plus 3. Okay. Okay. Cedar.
It's also the truth, I might add, so persuasion if I'm rolling.
It has to do with something else. But Cedar turns to Banuk. Well, if the creatures within happen to provide us, or if we have the ability to excavate these lands, that could benefit us in the future. Perhaps a single ID would be a worthy gamble for something of potential value, wouldn't you say? As Cedar, less demanding, more trying to provide Banuk with reasoning of value, seems to get Banuk to just quickly, well, you would know best, and walks up to the debris, places the charge, and turns and, all right, well, get back, as he quickly runs past you all and looks for some cover.
I want to follow, see where Banuk takes cover, and take cover just slightly further.
Directly behind him as a human shield while he's in cover.
Yep. He's gonna step
my short,
back.
stubby legs, I'm just gonna run backwards away from it and kind of jump.
Sure.
Perfectly time it.
Yeah.
I'll just find somewhere to hide that's
Sure.
as far away as everyone else, because I don't know how far is a safe distance. I don't know shell about explosives, so.
All right. Well, after a brief moment, you all run off and take cover, as then Banuk pulls out what appears to be a small little detonator and, from the safety of cover, punches it. And you all hear...
Out of curiosity,
Yeah,
can I see where he pulled that detonator from? Like, was it exposed on like the bandolier on the outside, or was it in like a pocket?
It's in a pocket. He has a bunch of like little bags attached to his belt and harness.
It's potentially for later. That's all. I was just curious.
Sure. But a big kaboof happens as rocks fly back outward in the center area. You all hiding behind cover. The rocks kind of fly by and chink against whatever cover you might be behind. And a moment later, as the dust settles, Banuk, Cedar, and the rest of you are able to approach back again. From the explosion, let me actually draw one here.
Is anyone hurt?
Nobody appears hurt. Cedar calls, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
And Banuk stands back a little bit, just kind of keeping a very practiced gaze around the entrance of the cave. And Cedar, a bit of excitement in his voice, decides to move up and starts climbing the rocks before the dust fully has a chance to settle. Hey, looks like there's a bit of a hole now, as he creeps his way up a bit more towards where the explosive charge was set. And through the smoke, you all hear, "God damn it!" And Cedar calls out, "Who's you guys all hanging back?"
Well, I'd go forward.
We're
to
on the
that.
look inside.
As soon as it detonated, I'm keeping my weapon ready towards the opening and just trying to watch out for any danger.
Yeah, you and Banuk seem to have
I'm not doing that. I walk up like an idiot.
Yeah. So those of you following Banuk, or not Banuk, following Cedar, go ahead and put yourself up closer to the blast that marker, and then those staying back can stay by Banuk and Maxine. Now, as the rest of you start to climb up, and Sam, what's your intelligence modifier?
0.
If you have asked that, it's probably not very high.
All right. Yeah. You're just following the rest as well then. The stone here definitely seems to be pretty sturdy. The rocks hold. And when you all finally get kind of through some of the smoke into where Cedar is, you see that there is a bit of an opening that has been made, cleared out by the explosion. Some erosion had happened where some boulders got thrown out, moved aside, and others tumbled down the collapse in here. But as you get a bit farther into the cave, so a little bit closer to the entrance proper, where you're finally somewhat enclosed within the cave walls, you find that the cave-in actually goes deeper, and much of this deeper area seems to be still blocked off. However, Dario, you'll notice that there are a couple of spots that you spot where, rather than seeing the color of the stone, you see darkness. And trying to posture to look through a few of them, you can see just through some very tough angles that there does seem to be an opening. It just doesn't seem to be large enough for many of you to pass through.
I think that might have worked. I don't know if we'll be able to pass through, but I can at least use my companion here to at least get us a good look and to see what's inside. I sit down, and while using the module device on my wrist, I click the undock button, which undocks what's called Gray Ghost from my back, and it starts to float in the air.
You said gray?
Yeah, Gray Ghost.
Okay. And what's this drone look like?
So this is I would say it is more of, let's say, like a B-2 bomber looking drone.
Ooh, the thing from Hawkeye. The little thing that he has with that.
More, I would say more like we'll say it looks more like Falcon's Red Wing.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant.
Good save. Disney, don't shut us down.
Very angular, very, very advanced looking, in contrast to what Dario's overall appearance is. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
That Red Wing. Oops.
Yeah, so it doesn't have the ability to lift objects, or I can't use it as a jetpack or anything. But it has the ability to identify assailants. At least on my module, I can see if they are, let's say, within 10 feet. They will show up as little red dots within like 180-degree view of the drone.
Okay. All right, so this drone detaches as Dario's backpack then hovers in place and transforms into a very angular, avian-looking creature. Maxine... Actually, before Maxine... Banuk, who is keeping an eye out with the others, and with the drone now in flight, the dust suddenly clears away, and Maxine and Banuk, both of you have very clear sights of the others now. Banuk looks up and kind of leans over to you. Huh, that's a interesting little toy. That doesn't happen to be the thing you were talking about, the bird in the sky.
Seen that.
Oh,
Does it look similar in design?
No.
It definitely does not.
How dare you answer? I was asking you.
No, but
How do you know anything about your character?
Dario is correct, though. It definitely does not resemble the object that you saw. Maxine, what you saw certainly had a bit of an avian look to it, but it looked more like a traditional like military drone, where it was a very had a very long silvery white body, hard to tell with the reflection of the lights in the sky, and it seemed to have a bit of a wide wingspan that you couldn't tell if it was mechanical or like a pair of wings, but it did have had a somewhat similar design to the wings of Dario's craft here. But overall, definitely Dario's craft is much smaller. You would have noticed and probably heard the drone had it been the size of Dario's, much closer to where you guys were, right? So whatever you saw clearly had distance, the ability to watch you from much farther.
That's not the one. It's something bigger, not quite the same design. It was up in the air, harder to get a good look at it with the sun glare. That's not the same one. Certainly not the same one, not the same design.
Banuk just gives you a shrug, but yeah, Caden, you wanted to talk and jump in with Banuk and Cedar here, right?
Well, it was mainly about me being able to clear the debris, but they shut that down, so...
All right.
One thing I will do is while everyone's looking at the hole and not paying attention, I'm going to pat myself down and subtly cast prestidigitation, and I'm going to be the only one there not covered in dust. I don't know if anyone will... Maxine will probably notice, but everyone else, eventually they'll notice I'm the only one who's not covered in dust here.
And give me what's your... You're not
I do have an ability for that, which I have been using the points for, which is the subtle casting. Like, I don't need any verbal or somatic components.
But you're not doing that.
No, I am doing that.
You are doing that. So you are using subtle spell?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can't on a cantrip, but it's character building. It's character building.
It's character building because I say it's character building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Maxine, you will spot, because you're looking at the others, you see Caden kind of dusting himself off, but you really don't think much of it. You do see kind of the dust falling off of him, and he's making those patting motions, so it's pretty believable. The rest of you are a bit more focused on the tunnel entrance. Cedar, definitely his focus seems to be on Dario's drone. This is fascinating. I haven't seen this type of technology in years. Where did you find this?
Well, it happens to be my own little creation.
He raises up. You made this yourself?
Yeah, I hope it's not too hard to believe.
I'm rather impressed, at least for now. It looks to be pretty stable. So this will be able to give us some eyes inside. Is that...
Hope so. Hopefully there's not too much. There's enough of an opening for me to be able to at least get it through. And hopefully there's not going to be nothing too much far in that will damage it.
Yep.
So, Dario begins to control the companion, or the drone, and starts to navigate it through the crevices of the rock.
Okay. As Dario's drone begins to kind of navigate, and Dario's focused on controlling the drone and navigating through the narrow opening and making its way through into the tunnel, Dario, initially your screen begins to darken quite a bit as the machine finds its way within, and the light source outside dissipates and disappears. But what is everyone else going to be doing as Dario begins to venture the drone within?
I'm like, oh, sorry, go first.
Oh, I'm. Once it seems like these guys probably have a handle on what's going on, and there's like 5,000 of them clustered around the opening, I'm just turning my focus around to keep an eye out behind us.
Oh, one thing to note also, I don't just look clean, I look like pristine. So I don't know if that would pique Maxine's interest, but
Gotcha.
just for your notes. And is everyone, so everyone else is, actually, everyone else go first, and rather than asking a stupid question that you guys are going to answer if you guys do anything.
All right, well, let's...
I'm not doing anything. I think I'm just watching to see if when Dario brings back his drone.
So everyone's just watching basically the hole in the wall right now. Perfect.
Yeah, like Cedar, I think I'm just curious into knowing more about this device that Dario seems to have home built.
Yep. And then Cedar is kind of hovering over Dario's shoulder, looking at this monitor of his. And Dario, this is going to be, we're going to try something here. So I'm going to be moving you to a different map.
Play Flappy Bird.
And between you and myself, we're gonna, I guess, try our best to describe what you see to the others. So, how can I move an individual here? Dario, no.
If you go to the scene and then right-click on his name in the players section, there should be a pull to scene button.
That's what I'm missing. I'm trying to drag and drop and pull the scene. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Foundry. I think that's how Roll20 works, right?
This is how the benefits of having a pro GM here. All right. For some reason, my cursor keeps disappearing when I try. There we go. All right, Dario. Currently, things should be pretty dark for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
well, I have a bit of a map that I can see, but no token on the board yet.
Which, speaking of tokens, if I'm not mistaken, we gave you a token for your companion here. We did.
Nice.
All right. You have visibility for that companion?
Yes.
Okay. I have no idea why it's missing health. We'll go, yeah, this way is where I want to go, and then... Alright. I don't know about the health, but let's go ahead and also get our camera. So, party members, if you want to switch to the stream just to see, you're welcome to. Just keep in mind that this is player knowledge. Pull the scene, come on. There we go.
I think not knowing anything, I've got down to point. I think I don't have to worry about that.
Maybe. Let's see, and then your companion, I need to give the camera visibility for that too, so give me a second. Oh. Did it work? Cool. Okay. Camera has visibility and... Oh, I don't know why it got moved again. Cool. There we go. So you should have the ability to control your little drone here, yes? Okay, awesome. Yep. All right.
And we're about right here, right? Like, this is probably the entrance.
Yeah, your party is going to be on the other side of where this is. From Dario, what you can see, your drone begins to kind of flash its feed as it adjusts the light from within these tunnels. And at the moment, you look about, and this cavern, this space in particular, doesn't really seem to have a whole lot around. At the moment, it looks very torn up. There's rocks flown about everywhere. There are cracks against the wall. There are you do find a little bit around the edges some kind of glowing, not really glowing, but what's the word I'm looking for? Translucent reddish bluish hues that seem to shine against your drone's visibility. And those are just kind of strewn about in various locations.
All right. And the space between, from let's say one square to the next, is it about 5 feet?
For the caverns, it is about 5 feet. Yep. I don't recall what's the movement of your drone.
Good question.
Flies 60 feet.
Yeah.
Is what it says. So you can basically move up to 10 squares whenever we do movement is the idea. Also, why is fog? I'm going to reset the fog here.
That's why I ask myself every day, why is fog?
Why is fog? All right, there we go. Much better. So with that, yeah, this area here looks to be the other side of the collapsed entrance. Rocks everywhere. There seems to be, again, some locations that your drone is highlighting as signs of something that is not terrain in particular. But at the moment, this area doesn't seem to be active. There doesn't seem to be anything moving about. And you also don't recognize this particular section of the caves.
All right, let's see what we can find as I start to navigate the drone within the cavern.
And Cedar over your shoulder. Oh, what is that over there? What is that? Something? Is that he's pointing kind of all over the place and really not making a whole lot of sense as you're trying to control, but he's talking over your shoulder.
At least nothing organic yet. I'm gonna have a lot of passages, it looks like, though, as I do a 180 degree or 360 degree turn around the cavern.
Yep.
And just kind of show that this could be a bit of a maze, unfortunately.
As you circle around, Cedar points to an area right around here. Can you get closer to what that is? See something shimmering in the dark.
Begins to move it slowly in that direction.
And upon getting a bit closer, your drone camera and infrared lights or whatever it is kind of shine, and you see another not very similar, but you see another exoskeleton of the creatures that you had seen before. Oh, can your drone collect any of this? Like that piece right there, or this one here?
Unfortunately not. It can indeed damage. It has guns on to shoot, but nothing to be able to pick up, unfortunately. We're gonna have to do that ourselves.
Double check.
Can I, if I were to look at his screen, I'd probably have to get pretty close to like the huddle to look at his screen. Like it's not projected on a wall on a big display or anything.
Nope. It's something that is on one of his devices that, I don't know, would you say it kind of looks like a Switch? It looks like a Stream Deck.
You can say something like that.
Yeah, so he has a little controller out that he's using to kind of navigate it. Seems to be a mixture of maybe somewhat analog and joy controls or motion controls that he's in a screen that depicts what the drone is seeing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see. You just got to get up kind of behind him and look close.
Yeah, I just don't want to do that right now. The thing I want to do is a little too risky right now, so.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say, but I say, well, they did definitely find some of these creatures, though.
As Cedar continues to kind of backseat drive, let's take a quick break so that folks can use the restroom and top off on fluids, and we'll be back in maybe a couple minutes. That sound good? Before we get too
Sounds
deep
good.
into this? Yeah, all right.
Mhm.
Be back, everyone. See you soon. All right, everybody, we are back to explore the caves where the party first landed on Aurora Green. We have here a drone from Dario that has managed to squeak in through some rocks, not squeak in, but hover through some openings in some rocks.
It actually does squeak when it flies.
Squeak, squeak, squeak. But yeah, using an improvised explosive device that Banuk had on hand. They managed to move some rocks enough where this drone could fit through, and Dario is now in the midst of exploring these caves once again. But Dario, with Cedar again still hovering over your shoulder, just super interested in what's within this cave, had directed you to go check out what turned out to be a exoskeleton left behind on the grounds here. Perhaps it's been there for a while, perhaps not, who knows. But you have free reign to move about. Where would you like to go? As after doing your little 360 scan, you do find that there is a pathway that appears to be leading eastward. Directions are tough for some reason, and one also on the opposite end that going northward.
I start to navigate it cardinal north towards the eastern, looks like, pathway.
Okay.
And starts to navigate it in that direction.
Upon heading down that way, your drone silently hovers over, and you find, scanning the wall facing, Cedar again, his whispers and mutterings kind of in your ear, but there seems to be many markings kind of riddled about, little holes that have been dug into the wall facing. As you look through some of them, they seem to kind of expand off into the walls. You're not really sure where it goes. Your drone, it might be a tight fit for a lot of them, but there's a couple where your drone looks like it might be able to fit through. And up ahead, as you continue, you find another large kind of chamber opening. And immediately your sensor flashes with movement up ahead on the opposite end as a small little scan goes out and highlights what appears to be a target on the opposite end that was barely in view. It kind of continues to move eastward.
Looks like I'm picking something up. I'm gonna start navigating a little bit closer that direction. As Dario starts to move it up.
Dario, what's your perception bonus again? It's like a 2 or 1?
+3.
+3. I'm gonna need you to roll.
For perception?
Yep, perception.
6.
Good thing combat was last session, guys. But a roll of 6. No, you're pretty focused on the targets up ahead, tunneling into, making sure you're posturing your drone in a way that it's out of view from anything that may impose risk. And as you continue to move, the creatures up ahead continue to move as well, and they don't seem to be looking in your direction as it continues downwards and begins to kind of fade out of view, turning around the corner.
Proceed to follow.
All right. Proceeding to follow, you continue north, and these creatures continuing to move. By the time you get up there, I'm actually going to move quite a few of these. There we go. And this one continues to move out of your view as your sensors are constantly now flashing of target acquired, target lost, target acquired, target lost, signature ahead, blah, blah, blah. And continuing to move you up as you continue to follow. You will eventually round the corner slowly, and you see what now a sight that you do recognize. This appears to be the other entrance that you had first found yourselves in. The light source up ahead is actually gone, so I forgot to remove that. Let me make that quick adjustment here. There we go. But from the inside to the south, your sensors ring out that there are signatures ahead, but you're temporarily distracted as you look northeastward, and this entire kind of opening here very much resembles that section of the caves where you and the party had emerged out into Aurora Green for the first time. However, when you look up to where that entrance should be, way up to the north, you see that it is completely blocked off and darkened by the surface of the same material that makes up the walls here.
Guys, I think as I kind of point in that direction, I think that's when we landed. Yeah, I think this is the cave. As I move more closer, or at least more central within inside of the cave.
And to the south, this is where you now get clear view of these creatures. And wrong window. Once again, the same insectoids that you saw on Maxine's monitor, Maxine's device, depicting some of the imagery that she had taken. You see those creatures up ahead, some of varying in different sizes, but they all seem to be navigating southward, making their way through this kind of narrow corridor, kind of rushing through up against the walls and making their way down and through these tunnels. The entrance over here doesn't quite what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't quite fit them horizontally, so they're kind of walking sideways against the walls to make their way through.
Well, looks like we found a couple more. As I move my drone down towards that crevice.
Sure. You're going to continue making your way through and following these creatures as, again, those of you standing behind Maxine see a very similar scene to what is on stream, as these remaining creatures also continue to rush forward and eventually vanish from your view as your drone. Do you follow through the tunnels, you say?
As I move up, let's say about right here,
Mm-hmm.
I know my drone well enough to know its kind of spacing.
Yep.
And so looking at it,
You can fit.
I will be able to fit?
Yep, you'll have no problem fitting.
All right. I look at everyone. Well, we've gone this far. As I begin to start to move it south, I guess cardinal south in this cave.
Sure. While this is happening, Caden, I need you to give me an Arcana roll.
Sure. Hold on a sec. I have the stream open and I was trying to figure out how to click stuff on Foundry, and that was
Pause, play, pause.
yeah, exactly. Okay, Arcana.
Okay, noted. We'll come back to that soon. But Dario, go ahead and what does your drone do next?
Yeah, it begins moving southward.
All right, you can continue to the corner, which at this point, making your way around and finally get in view, you see a creature. Just the tail end of it as it makes its way through the opposite end and quickly vanishes from view. And from continuing just slightly more forward, this is where you see yet another familiar scene. A tunnel a tunnel entrance that seems to be covered in these kind of blossoms of mineral. Not quite sure what that material is, but at the sight of it, Cedar just begins to lean in, actually his hand now on your shoulder and kind of weighing it down. Fascinating. And you somewhat recognize these walls as you see a very light glimmer of water trickling down the outer walls. Less than you remember from your first pass through in person through this area. But deeper within, on the opposite end, there is another tunnel entrance as these mineral formations kind of cover up and around the entrance of the cave. A little tunnel here within the caves.
Maxine, or if I'm recalling, is Maxine with us or no? Sorry.
Maxine's with you guys outside, yeah. And at this point, actually, continue your thought first.
Oh, I was going to mention kind of Maxine in the group. I think this was the cave that did not go very well. At least when I don't remember feeling so well. I think I remember seeing a lot of these plants before.
I want to just approach and pull up the photo of the cave where we were kind of losing it.
Sure. Going through your photos, you find kind of the insectoids, you find the tunnel entrance, and you find then the other cave and the flowers that you had found. And next to Dario, you pull up this image.
Is this one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's it. Cedar. Look at this. Yeah, Maxine, you can tell him about it.
Cedar, still his eyes kind of glued to your monitor, Dario, shifts his vision to Maxine's device and suddenly takes his hand off of your shoulder, the grip letting the blood flow back into your shoulder and through it, steps to the opposite side over towards Maxine, saying, "What in the world are these?" And for a short while, Dario, finally, the whispers of Cedar ease, and you can focus on your drone. But Maxine, Cedar is gonna start asking you some curious questions, questions about the plant, how this is different from the other, what he saw in Dario's, occasionally glancing back to Dario. But how long are you gonna entertain Cedar for?
I mean, I'm gonna try to. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to slowly give him a rundown, more or less, on what my experience was in the cave.
Can I
try to keep him off of Dario's back for a while?
Sure. Give me.
I would like.
Hold on. Give me. Yeah, give me a. If you're doing it intentionally, give me performance. If
Absolutely.
you're not, just straight charisma.
If Maxine was giving information properly, it's as quick as possible. God!
Wow,
It's a
you are
zero. It's a
having
big zero.
you are having
Good
a,
old
Incredible.
goose egg, huh?
you're having a night.
Sure am.
But as Maxine starts to tell the story and gets to the part where the hallucinations began, Maxine, your descriptions start to feel less structured, less organized, a bit more sporadic, and Cedar seems a bit less interested in what now just sounds like fabrication. But Caden, you're gonna overhear some of this exchange as well as see some of it. What were you thinking?
I would like to go talk to Cedar. Specifically, I want to ask him, so are you a biologist or a chemist? You seem extremely interested in these plants.
We're going to come back to that conversation while we switch back over to Dadio's drone adventures, and we'll come back to you asking
I love that
Cedar.
TV show.
Yeah, right? But Dadio, as you see the creature up ahead disappear from view, and Maxine seems to begin telling a bit of a story to Cedar, referencing her device and flipping through various images. And what do you do?
Takes a deep breath, knowing that this was not a place that I felt the best in. It continues to push forward. Guess on pursuit.
Okay. You'll make it to the other end, and with that, I'm going to need you to scroll your view north a bit as I move your token to where this tunnel entrance exits. As you make it through this darkening corridor, which is only barely illuminated by this bioluminescence from these floral mineral formations that seem to be sprouting here and there. As you twist and wind and begin to kind of make a northward turn, you find yourself exiting. Gosh, I wish it didn't drag you just across borders, but oh well. But you find yourself slowly exiting out on the opposite end, and up ahead you begin to see multiple alerts of creatures, targets up ahead.
I'm getting a lot of signatures on my drone here.
When you mention that, Cedar's eyes pop up towards you, and Maxine, it looks like Cedar's about to head back to Dario's device, but that's when Caden approaches and begins asking questions.
Do you want me to repeat them, or are you just
No,
going to answer?
we're still going to wrap up what Dario sees, and then we'll briefly come
okay.
back to your conversation with Cedar outside. But Dario, back within as Cedar and Caden begin talking for a brief moment. What do you have your drone do?
Moves very slowly, almost like at like a snail's pace.
Okay. You're kind of hovering in a bit of more of a passive mode, trying to not make sudden movements to disturb the creatures up ahead. But
That's right.
you can continue to posture yourself to where you wish to stay as things continue to move about. The various creatures are all shuffling, and a few of them, as you still kind of find yourself out of their view, none of them seem to be really turning from you. In fact, from your current position, you'll notice that there was a bit of a trail of creatures coming from these two directions. You kind of see the tracks through your monitor depicting quite a bit of traffic as you see all these various scratches and little markings in the ground and on the walls that seem to be very depictive of the steps that these creatures seem to be making throughout the caves.
What is this place? As he continues to move into the cave.
Okay. As you continue around the corner, you see a whole kind of colony of these creatures that seem to be almost like swarming on top of one each other, and they all seem to be funneling into or to the eastern direction, which you can't quite get a good view of.
Oh, this is this is getting very freaky. As I move my drone more towards the western edge of this wall that I'm at, still kind of a hardy distance away, but kind of gaining a full look into this big swarm that's looks like it's not too far away in front of me.
Yep. No, they all seem to be a buzz, almost like ants flushing into or out of an entrance to their colony, or like bees swarming outside of a nest and all rushing in and out of or whatever entrance that they may have made for themselves. It's very reminiscent of that kind of behavior that you may have seen from some of the wildlife, perhaps back home or through your travels. But they all continue to seem to be pushing in the direction this way.
Sam, I think, is near me, right?
Sam's probably within earshot. Yep.
Yep.
Sam.
Here.
Sam, I feel a bit worried to go a little further. What do you think these things are doing?
I mean, I've seen bugs gather like that before, and normally they got one goal. They're trying to protect where they are, their home, and then they're trying to expand after that. But every time I've seen animals or insects act that way, they're not friendly. We should keep our distance.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, the last thing that we want to do is be the disturbance here. We didn't essentially sign up for that. But I want to hover and wait until the last, I guess the last one of these insectoids is going through, I guess, whatever this crevice is.
Sure.
Before I fall behind.
Yeah, they continue to kind of push through. I think I'm gonna put him right about there. And
I'll kind of be right behind.
sure.
Out here.
From your position, it's incredibly difficult to tell, but you suddenly spot an entrance, an opening. And yeah, there seems to be another corridor that they are all rushing through. And you can't quite make out what exactly is on the other end, but the few occasions that the swarm kind of parts in a way that creates a narrow kind of vision, a tunnel of vision to the opposite end. I'm going to have you give me a... for the drone, give me a investigation with advantage, and then for yourself, give me a perception with disadvantage.
Okay. So investigation with advantage.
Yep,
That's for the drone.
Yep. Very hard to make out. Something deep within catches your eye, and you're trying to focus to see it.
Do I get to roll anything since I'm watching kind of right behind Sam?
You
when
can
he's
also
watching?
give me a perception with disadvantage. 'Cause again, from the view on the device that Dario is looking through, it is not easy to spot.
And then, sorry, GM, you said the second roll was going to be what? Perception with disadvantage?
Perception disadvantage, yep.
What, a 10?
It'll be a 7 on
Okay.
on myself.
Okay. Dario, there's a few moments on your device that you manage to capture, or at least view through the lens of your drone, where, again, insects are kind of rushing through in almost like a circular manner. Occasionally the center of it gets filled up with another insectoid kind of scrambling on top of the others. But in the few rare cases where you're able to see through, this complete just swarm of these insectoids, and something deep within, in the far end, something glows, something shines, and both Dario and Sam, through the mess of the swarm, again, this is going to be a bit of an abstract look at what is within. Part of it is going to be kind of covered up, but you spot the flurry, and that's the word I'm looking for, the flurry of these insectoids and their motions is going to give you particular sight up ahead, which resembles, where is it? This one here. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Again, more for a vibe setting, as through the swarm of creatures, you get bits and glimpses of the dark chitin of a creature, several creatures that seem to be huddling together on the far end. There seems to be a much more red glow and more of a red tone on several of these creatures. And at the center of all of these creatures, you will find, Dario at least will find, where did I put it? Here it is. Dario, though brief, you catch a glimpse of the following at the center of these creatures in the far end of the tunnels. Your drone barely seeing it in a few split seconds. Sam, you're only able to kind of spot the faint understanding of larger, darker, blackened, chitin, red, spiky limbs that seem to be swarming around in the far reaches. Dario, you spot some kind of a humanesque figure that seems to be at the center of them all. But a split second later, that vision gets covered up by the swarm and the images are gone.
Is this some kind of like lair for where they all go to?
Possibly.
Did you catch a look at that, Sam?
Not clearly. I mean, they look the same that we saw before, just a lot of them.
Yeah, but for one moment, I think I saw. I'm not sure this is like the mother or the leader of this whole pack.
You think these things have mothers?
Well, we all come from somebody, right?
Sorry.
Oh, that's up for debate.
Yeah.
He's a test tube, baby.
All right. Dario, while you and Sam are talking and thinking about what you guys are seeing as the swarm...
Real quick, too, now we have Cedar here, right? Because he's the one also looking.
If you wanna talk with Cedar, we're gonna come back to this.
No,
Okay.
don't engage him yet. Don't. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. So you guys are again looking at this image as Dario has positioned his drone, and now you get a bit of a clearer view of the swarm that seems to be, again, they seem to be collecting through this tunnel and gathering on the far ends where you guys saw some strange happenings on the other side. But with that, we're going to switch over to Caden, who at this, while the others are looking at Dario's imagery here, you're in the back here with Maxine, Cedar, and Banuk, and ask Cedar, did you want to repeat it? Something about being a biologist?
What is interest in the plants and animals? Were like, is he a biologist, a doctor, a chemist? It just, he seemed oddly interested in these things, and it's piqued my curiosity.
Yeah. So as Cedar was getting tired of Maxine's little story, he was a bit more interested at Dario getting a bit worked up over something. But upon you asking him questions, he looks a little frustrated, looking past your shoulder over at Dario and the other at Sam, but turns to you. Well, it's not necessarily. I am really just trying to find ways for the camp to survive. Materials become a bit scarce as the more we travel, and especially the further we get away from the big cities. So sometimes we've had to think of creative ways to get what we need. I'm sure, I don't know if you've made your way over to like the mechanics, but for example, they make their own alcohol, which we use throughout the camp for both cleaning as well as, well, in some cases, those fools tend to drink that stuff. And
I'll let him finish.
And in the case of these creatures, as he wiggles the mandible in front of you in his hand, he mentions that, well, if there is some kind of a natural material that we can perhaps harvest or maybe even just collect, perhaps we can make some tools which, made from different materials, could provide us with benefits, especially as he open-handedly kind of gestures around him, especially when it comes to these salted lands. These standard tools seem to deteriorate quicker when we try to use them against these materials. So it has, for the most part, fallen onto me to think of what we can do to improvise, to adapt.
So what's your... Do you have a background in this stuff though, like chemistry or biology or anything like that? Or like what did you do before all of this storm business?
Before the storm business, as he kind of gives you a knowing smirk. Before the catastrophes started to become frequent, and before, well, maybe before would be giving myself too much credit, but during the war, I was nothing more than a military librarian.
Huh. Okay.
Why do you ask? As he's suddenly a bit curious in your...
I'm just trying to get
questions.
to know my new friends.
And what about you? You say that during this conversation, by the way, Caden, you feel like it's getting kind of chilly out here. You're starting to get goosebumps, and you have been out here for a while, but...
Is this a familiar feeling to me? Like this has happened before in regards to something else, or is it just I'm cold? I have a hunch, but...
You rolled a nat 20, so...
I have a feeling it has... I might not know what it's coming from, but I have a feeling it's...
Yeah, at the moment, yes.
Stormy related, sort of.
At the moment, no. What it reminds you of is whenever you're in the caves and whenever you were escaping in your backstory, there were times where things around you would go out of control. Things around you would suddenly turn south. And it was always kind of this uncomfortable, almost like borderline feverish chill that runs through your body, causing your hairs to rise up and your skin to tingle. It reminds you of that.
Oh. Shit. Do I get a sense of time on it, or like how long till something happens, or is it just kind of very vague?
At first, while you were kind of walking about, while the soldiers were there, you started to feel a little bit of a chill. It started to get stronger at the time when Banuk had used the IED to blow some of the fallen rocks, and since talking to Cedar is when it suddenly started to spike, and you came to realize that, oh shit, I'm getting a bad feeling.
Oh shit.
Dario, around this time when you're watching these creatures, the source of the glow on the far reaches of it disappear, and many of these creatures also seem to be acting a bit more sporadic as they rush through much quicker. Why are they stacking on top of each other? Weird. But they are going to continue to kind of push through and make their way in, and many of them also beginning to kind of disappear from view, as much of what was there at the beginning also kind of vanishes from the scene.
Am I still going, or is it them right now?
Nope, we're coming back to you as Cedar's looking at you, And yourself, I mean, you always seem to have a lot of questions to ask, but so far your story seems to have a few holes in it as he looks at you a bit inquisitively.
What holes might those be?
Well,
Actually, midway through, I'm going to go, oh crap. And I'm going to turn to the people over there and I'm going to run towards the people with the drone.
hey, where the hell are you going? You run off.
And I'm going to start yelling, like, something's up, something's happening. I don't know what, but I'm just trying to warn them. I don't entirely know what's happening, but something feels off.
And Dario, Maxine, and Sam, you guys are all going to hear this as Maxine, Cedar looks kind of back at you in confusion. And Dario and Sam, you guys hear Caden run up, spouting something of danger.
What did he say?
Something's happened. I have a bad feeling, guys. I don't know what it is, but something's happening.
Yeah, I think. You think we should halt then?
Sorry, what was that actually?
You think we should halt then?
Halt.
I don't know. I don't even know what you guys are doing, but something's happening. Something's off. I got a gut feeling something's wrong. Is it still building right now, or has it stopped?
Is it still
the feeling?
The
yeah,
feeling?
The feeling.
No, the feeling typically caps out, and then before you know it, it's gone. But it's still there. It persists, and it seems to be like at a simmering. It seems to be like simmering is the word for it.
Whatever's happening, I would recommend we stop. I don't know what you guys are doing, but something feels off.
What do you mean feel? You got like a tingle?
Yeah, like, do I have actually physical like reaction? Like, do I have goosebumps on my arm kind of thing, or no?
Yeah, you have goosebumps.
I'll show them my arm, I guess. I'm like, something's off. Like, something feels off.
Have you felt this before?
I need to turn you up, Dario. Oh, you're maxed already. Fuck. Okay, never mind.
I'm giving Banuk a look like I don't have any more clue what's going on than he does.
I just have a... You push forward if you want, but I have a feeling something's going to happen.
Banuk, Cedar, and Maxine, you guys are probably going to be approaching the rest of the group as well. And
I put my arm on Dario's shoulder and said, I think it's a good time to stop. We've come this far trusting each other and our skills. And while I don't understand what Caden is talking about, I think we trust him here.
Yeah.
Also, on a level of, like, feelings, is it like Edrison, or is it not that bad?
is there a difference? Is there
I don't know.
severity?
I'm asking you. Can I?
Here's
can I tell
a question
severity
for Caden. Whenever that feeling happens, are there lesser versions of it?
Not really.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah, let's start turning around then. I think we at least know that we're gonna have a lot to deal with if we're in here, but better to turn back now before it gets any worse. As I begin to navigate back the way I came.
The way you came? All right, it's going to take Dario. Let me see here. What is that? 30.
Whatever those things are, I haven't even looked. I don't even looked at the screen yet.
30,
They're dangerous.
That's 4, 5, 6. It's going to take Dario about a minute or two as he double times the drone back. If you're doing it safely, it's going to take you over 2 minutes. If you're doing it like a speed run, I'm going to need you to give me what's higher, your intelligence? Yeah, actually, no, it's going to have to be intelligence. So give me a science roll and a history roll. Yeah.
Okay, so for science...
Science is Arcana, if you're not a magic
Okay.
based class.
Got it. So Arcana, so just a normal, correct?
Just Arcana will be fine. Yep, if it's...
Okay, 5. Not the best.
All right.
And then...
And then history.
Okay, got it. No whammies, no whammies.
It's not a good day for that.
Not the worst. Okay.
Yeah, you roughly remember where it's gonna be. It's gonna take you about 1.5 to 3 minutes to get out, and all the while, Caden, you either want to run into a cave or just get the hell out of here, and this feels like a minute that is taking 10. And with that, though, let's get the entire view back to the exterior as we make this the... I don't know how to move partial members, so we're going to go back home and reactivate this scene. Good. That moved everyone. So, in the next minute or two, the drone eventually will make its way out. Everybody is just looking at Caden a bit funny, especially the other group. But Cedar and Banuk are just going to look around. What is going on here, guys? Why are we leaving? We haven't finished exploring the rest of what's inside. Well, we don't know where those creatures are going. Dario, please, turn your drum back around.
No, I have to agree with my friends here. I don't think going any further with what seems to be a premonition doesn't seem like a good idea. I think it's best for us to leave.
What the hell is going on? You guys haven't said anything yet, other than he has a bad feeling.
Yous haven't fought these creatures yet. We fought 3 of them, and we barely made it out alive. You saw how many there were in his little device? If they got angry and they charged at us, there's no way we'd survive.
How are they going to charge at us? Their cave entrance is blown.
They're tunneling insects.
So you think these insects are going to be coming after us? Is that what you're telling us?
I have no idea, but it's a bad feeling. If you need any more convincing, I had the same thing the day Edgerson burned to the ground.
Give me a persuasion with advantage.
Oh, I gotta switch views again. I was trying to pause my video again. Persuasion, advantage.
As soon as you mentioned feeling the same just before Edgerson, Banuk's eyes go wide. Just for a fraction of a moment. Only enough for anyone looking directly into Banuk's eyes would have
I
seen.
definitely was at that moment.
Yeah, Caden, it would make sense. He was speaking to you. But with that, a look crosses his expression towards you, Caden. A knowing one. One of...
You were there.
Just kind of he just kind of resigns that... Ah, shit. You're sure?
I don't know what it is, but it's bad.
Looks over to Cedar. If you were there, you would know. That's good enough for me. I don't know how you are already getting a feeling like that, as his eyes kind of go distant for a brief moment. But if it's anything similar, we should get on the move. And Cedar doesn't question it, just gives him a bit of a confused nod. And Dario, about that minute or so starts to pass. You guys start to hear the whirring of Dario's drone kind of whizzing through the other side of the rocks. And a few seconds later, Dario, you get it out, and it hangs on your back and transforms back into this kind of pack of yours.
So, what's the next move? Do we head out?
Let's get back to the others as Banuk begins leading the way back to the caravan, as well as Cedar quickly in tow. And for the rest of you, as Cedar and Banuk take their leave first, you guys have a moment to yourselves if you'd like to discuss anything, but otherwise, if you follow, go ahead and begin following.
I'm just gonna point at Caden and say, "You're going to have to explain later." And put my mask on because I don't know what's coming, and I'm gonna wait for these guys to start moving, get ready to go.
Dario puts his hand on Sam's shoulder and says, "And by the way, thank you for helping me back there during the fight. It wasn't looking too well when we got there."
Has the feeling started to wind down now that we packed up?
No, it's not going away.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, we'll see if there's any going back. We might have crossed a precipice, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's like you... Gosh, I don't even know what a good description of it would be that's not inappropriate, but it's...
I was thinking a very inappropriate one at the time.
But the feeling is, it's almost like you're shivering without being cold. Like it's very contradicting. You have a fever, you have that feeling of an external fever where you're sweating and like your skin feels cold, but your inside feels hot. Like it's all over the place, and it's very off-putting. But for Caden, right, you got a bad gut feeling. Your hairs are standing on end. You got goosebumps. You feel like the air is getting dry and chill. But outside of that, you feel otherwise fine.
Okay.
Well, so the rest of you guys, if you have, do you have anything amongst yourselves to do? If not, give me that motion towards Maxine so I know.
Motion. Oh, you mean move our little guys?
Yep. Just want to make sure you guys had nothing to do with each other. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and reposition you all back to the group as Banuk, Cedar, and the four of you make it back. When you return to where the caravan is, where the four vehicles sit, where the dead bodies kind of lay off to the side, covered in a tarp, likely slightly recessed into the ground, and the prisoners kind of off outside the vehicles. The female still bound, the guy rebound, his hands now wrapped behind his back, and Banuk kind of shouting orders to everyone to get ready to depart. The rest of you find Koji kind of sitting in the back of the Jeep you all had arrived in, and he looks like shit. He looks like he hasn't slept in 3 days. His skin is covered in this damp kind of sweat humidity, and his eyes seem to be flickering between conscious and unconsciousness in the back. And you see him holding on to his duffel bag close in his lap.
Dario whispers to Maxine, "Yeah, I think we're gonna have to take care of these two." As he looks at both Koji as well as for Caden. Yeah, I worry about them and what this whole ordeal is gonna do to them.
Keep an eye out.
All right, well, with that, Caden, that feeling, even after moving all the way over here, still seems to persist, and the Jeeps are getting ready to depart. Just for simplicity, Banuk here is going to be in the Jeep that has the machine gun on the back. Cedar is going to be in the vehicle that has Koji, the one that you all took. We'll put him over here. The prisoners are each going to be separated into their own vehicles, and the dead are going to be left behind. And I guess place yourself in the vehicle that you wish to depart in. So there's 4 vehicles, 1 prisoner in each, Banuk in one with the Gatling, and Cedar in the other with Luca.
I see how shitty Koji's looking. I'm gonna try to go to him.
Am I on the wrong page or?
Attempted token move collides with at least one wall.
You are on the wrong page for some reason.
I had the same issue. I don't know why. I was able to just click onto the right map though.
Huh.
Oh,
On the top
I didn't
bar.
know that was an option.
Oh, did you navigate yourself out? Are you able to hit the button? There we go.
Okay.
Cool.
Now I'm on the right page.
Yep.
Wait, I'm in the cave still. I don't see vehicles.
Look north back to where the caravan was. Up here. Oops. Up here. Middle of the map. Do you see it?
Oh, okay.
Do you have vision?
Yeah, I do.
You do. Cool. Yep.
I see. So I can just pick someone to go with, basically.
Exactly. Yep. So the two on the top have prisoners, one in each. Bottom two have Banuk and Cedar. Cedar's in the large one that could fit all of you if you choose. Banuk is in the one with the machine gun on the back that can fit one more person. But yeah, Maxine
I'll
and
pop in these ones, I guess. I have no reason to talk to prisoners.
okay, cool. The other two vehicles will begin to drive off once Banuk kind of takes the helm, and the vehicle that houses the most of you, as well as Cedar, will kind of take the center as you all begin to make your way southward to where Maxine, you had arrived from with Banuk and the others. But as you all take off with this foreboding vibe or the unsettling vibe expressed by Caden that something is going to happen, as the engines begin to hum, as everyone gets in, and as the party departs the salted lands that they had arrived in at the very beginning. Oh, it looks like we lost Maxine here. Let's see. Let me see if Maxine's gonna make it back, because I do want something to trigger here soon. Oh, you're back.
I actually, yeah, I wanted to see if I could make one change on placement though.
Yeah, go for it. We haven't quite left yet. Getting ready to.
Was there room in either the top two?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna
go with the female.
Yep.
Okay.
Because we got people in the other ones there, so
cool.
I think we're still there.
So before all the vehicles set off, right? You know what I'll do? I'll set it up this way. We'll put the one vehicle with Cedar here. We'll put you two on the flank here. And we'll put the other one on the flank down here for now. And then these dead bodies, right, that are left behind, we'll go ahead and say goodbye to those. All right. Caravan begins to set off. Caden, that feeling that something is about to go south doesn't quite go away. But as you are all driving, Banuk turns back to you. Are you sure something's going to happen? I don't see anything.
We might have avoided it, but it felt like something was going to happen. Whether I don't know anything more than it just feels like something. It still feels like something's going to happen, but I don't know what.
And as you guys continue to move, oh my god, I used the wrong. Right.
Mushroom cloud in the back now.
You hope not. Get these dead guys out of here. They're in my way. But at this point, those of you who are on a lookout, keeping an eye out outside, and otherwise just trying to be diligent, you can give me your choice of perception with disadvantage, arcana, science, if you have it, or if you're doing something else on the road back, go ahead and...
Perception with disadvantage?
Yep. If you're just looking, perception with disadvantage.
Oh, 14.
Ooh, look at you guys.
Oh, 20.
Wow.
Here you go.
Here's all the
Here come the
rolls.
roll.
Here they are.
I am absolutely keeping just one hand on the prisoner as well.
Sure. All right, well, with the lowest roll of a 14 by Sam. Sam, you're a little split brain between Koji and the environment. Looking out, you're not really spotting whatever the heck is going on. The skies still seem to be calm with the Aurora Borealis out there. There's nothing glowing on the ground. You don't see weird particles floating anywhere like you were looking for the other day. You're not sure what Caden and Banuk are spooked about, but things look fine from your point of view. From Dario and Maxine's point of view, you also, much like Sam, don't spot anything out of the ordinary from the surface or the sky. But what the two of you do sense is there seems to be a dry scent in the air, something that kind of tingles your nostrils as you look about. And in a few locations you spot that the air in the distance, almost like a mirage, but take the horizontal like length of a mirage you might see on a, like a 20-foot road, and make it circular and smash it into like a ball, right? That distortion you seem to be spotting in a couple locations in the distance, and as soon as you focus on it, it disappears. And you feel like in the corner of your eye, there it is again. You look over, it disappears. You're not sure if it's your imagination or if it's paranoia or if there's something actually going on, but you don't sense anything outside of, again, what you see and what your nostrils seem to be flaring up at. And Caden, you don't see what Maxine and Dario are experiencing. You don't smell anything. You're completely distracted by the raising the goosebumps and the chills on your skin, and you see something different. You see what appear to be. You ever look into like a bright light and then you close your eyes and you still see that blindness?
All those white spots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You start to get that effect in the form of lightning strikes.
Oh shit.
Where you're looking out and you're seeing like a flash, and when you close your eye you see these vertical tendrils that are arcing through the air in your vision. You didn't really see it other than the distortion when it flashes, but when you close your eyes you distinctly and you blink, you distinctly see there's these sparks of vertical sparks, lightning bolts that seem to be stretching around from the ground up to the sky all over the place. And it seems to be increasing in frequency as you continue to drive out of the salted lands.
Wow. Oh, shit. Good thing we left. My character says that. I don't know if you guys will ask me about that at all, but I do say that.
No. As you're all driving out, the vehicles somewhat fan out, and Sam, Maxine, and Koji are going to be kind of on opposite sides of where the vehicle housing the guy is located. But Dario and Caden, you look down to where out the windows, and as you see these kind of flashes as you blink and see these markings that you never saw with your naked eye appear, you see one suddenly land where the southern caravan vehicle is, the one housing one of the prisoners.
Okay.
Nothing happens, but then a split second later, Dario, this is where you quickly glance over, seeing a bit of distortion, and all of a sudden this vehicle explodes.
Shit, it's getting closer. It is. Oh.
that is where we're going to be ending tonight.
Oh.
I'm glad something at least blew up so I don't look like an entire idiot.
And next time on Horizon Exploration, when we continue, we'll kick things off at the explosion of this vehicle and the aftermath that follows. But episode 9, here we are. What do you think?
Dang.
Ooh.
So, if we need to run, we toss the prisoners off first, yeah?
I just imagine the freaking Pirates of the Caribbean scene when they were out of stuff, so they started firing utensils because they're just trying to get rid of stuff.
Not the rum.
Not the rum, yeah.
Priorities. All right, guys.
You know,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a bit of a shame for the driver, but of all the vehicles and of all the people to get struck, Maxine was more okay with that one.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Come on.
Wouldn't you guys have liked to figure out what would have happened if each of you got into a different vehicle?
Yeah, we all just one. One each.
That was that could have changed some things. But yeah, something is
Kind of
going
wish I
on.
got struck by that. I wonder what would have happened. Probably would have died, but it would have been interesting.
I don't know,
We'll
dude.
see you on episode 25.
Maybe. But yeah, we're gonna see next time what is going on, what is stirring up, what Caden's little feelings are, and who knows, maybe, well, guess we'll see what happens to the camp and if you guys make it back, and we'll see.
A lot of ifs.
A lot of ifs.
Yeah.
It's like I want to talk about what could happen, but I don't want to spoil anything. You guys got to find out that for yourselves.
Tune in next week.
Yep. So next week, as long as we don't have any abrupt cancellations, we should have Koji returning with us. Koji is going to be in a bit of a state at the beginning of next session due to how things left him tonight. And for the rest of you, yeah, Banuk is now speeding off, cursing. Cedar closely behind, and Maxine, the car that you're within. The driver is a little confused, a little unsure what to do as you all look to the side and see the wreckage of a Jeep left behind. Not sure why the others are not stopping for it, but that is where we'll continue.
All I know is I could say I told you so.
You might regret that.
Possibly.
All right, everybody. Well, this was again Horizon Exploration Episode 9, wrapping it up here now, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place, Episode 10 next week, right here on Yasuhiro88ch. See you all, have a great night, and as always, take it easy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.